Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft Declare franchise mode here in NHL 25. So, in last episode, if you didn't catch it, we probably had our best ever playoff series yet, as we managed to pull off a nice little sweep of the Minnesota Wild. As you can see, game number one was a nice 7-4 victory. That one was kind of an interesting one because we were actually down 3-1 at one point in time. We were able to rally and get the game tied back up. Actually, we took the lead in the second period, I think it was, right? Because, yeah, we're down 3-1 after one. Then we went up 4-3 after two, and then we had some insult to injury and won 7-4. Game two was a much closer game, 1-0 victory, but still good goaltending performance. Not a lot of offense, but we didn't necessarily need the offense in that game, which is good to show that our defensive play could still hold up. Then we won 3-2 in overtime, so another kind of closer game, not as high scoring, but still a good game. And then we won 8-1, so another good offensive game with also good defensive results mixed into that. So in general, it was probably our best ever series we've had so far up to this point in time. And now we're going to be going into the second round for the first time in a few years, and we're going to be taking on the Dallas Stars. So it's kind of like an intergalactic matchup, which is going to be interesting. I'm hoping that obviously we can keep the momentum rolling and get ourselves to conference finals like we were a few years ago now. I will show you guys our player stats from that first round because there is some pretty good looking stats like I was mentioning. I was not impressed with anybody on this team. I was not impressed. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Let me not go regular season here. Not impressed. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying I'm impressed with everybody on this team is what I'm. Man, my brain is confused. Okay, anyways, literally everybody on this team was really good in this first round. You can see everybody on the team pretty much picking up points, having great plus-minus results as well. And the only ones that didn't pick up points were just basically Dag and Bell, which is interesting. So basically a defensive defenseman and a grinder. So it kind of makes sense that they wouldn't pick up much points. We did have a lot of guys not scoring goals, but a lot of guys were picking up some assists on goals. We had guys like Heatley show up for 2 goals in that series, which is nice because he doesn't get a lot of ice time. And then our goaltending was also fantastic with Giunta posting a .946 save percentage in that round. So I really don't think there was much problems to go off of in that first round. The only problem I would say maybe we could say is a problem is our power play wasn't that good, as you can see below me. We were first in offense in that first round, first in defense, 13th on the power play at 9.1%, and then 7th in penalty kills. So if we're going to need to improve anything, it would be probably our power play. Hopefully we could get some more power play goals because that would obviously show that we could score on special teams as well. So that's maybe the one area I'm hoping that this team could start capitalizing on in the second round to help us get to a conference finals. Because this year's is probably not going to be as easy, I feel like, as the first round, just because obviously as you go later on, it's harder and harder to sweep teams, I feel like. So I don't think we're going to be able to pull off a sweep against Dallas. If we do, that would be insane. But at the same time, maybe we don't really want to sweep them because I feel like the best chance to win a cup is when you win like 4 games, you win 5 games, 6 and 7 games. Like you never have like multiple sweeps in a playoff run. But let me go over to Dallas. I sneezed in between. Like I just all of a sudden got a sneeze out of nowhere. So anyways, this is the Dallas Stars. Their forward group is pretty good. I wouldn't say they're like a stud offensive group, but they do have some really good players on it. Very good balanced lines. Like if Escalainen was on the third line, they would have basically 3 really good lines in a solid 4th line. So the offensive core is pretty good. The defensive core also relatively good. I mean, you have Shores and Heiskanen, so Heiskanen's dropping off, obviously, because he's 37 years old at this point, but still, good top 2. The second pairing, maybe a bit weak with Persona on that pairing. I don't really know, but that top 6 pairing is also a little bit on the weaker end of things, so maybe we can find ways to score goals on those pairings. And then from a goaltending perspective, they're not the strongest in net, but they do have Kosa. They also do have Cali Klang. And Scratch, they do have another really good forward in Brett Berard, so Brett Berard also would make this team even stronger. So you can see definitely I'd say they're more offensively minded than they are defensive, but they definitely still have good results as they won 48 games during the regular season. So yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting matchup. I don't think it's going to be as easy as the first round, but who knows, it could be easy for our team again if they continue to play like they did last round. So anyways, before we get into the second round matchup, let's get into your guys' comments, see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we'll see what we're able to do in the second round, and hopefully we can keep the momentum rolling and get ourselves into that conference finals like we were a few years ago. So the first comment is from Joseph D. Miller, who's his complete performance on offense and defense. And yeah, it was just a fantastic playoff round for our team. Like I said, there was some games where we didn't score a lot, but we didn't need to. We relied on our defense and goaltending, and it got wins. When we had also 2 good offensive games, and it showed that our offense could do stuff in the playoffs as well. So basically, we're getting contributions from every single area, and that's exactly what I want to see from this team. I don't want to see us kind of like taking it off where we're really bad defensively and just outscoring the opponent, or maybe we're not scoring and just trying to defend our way to a Stanley Cup, because that's a very hard way to win games. And a last and final comment is from Sound Taku, who says, very encouraged to see my boy Zach Kurd make a big impact. We'll have to see how he does in subsequent rounds, but based on this performance, I would have no problems letting Tuzolino walk to free agency. And yeah, that's the one thing that's kind of lingering on with this team is Tuzolino's contract extension, because the guy wants like 18 million bucks at this point, and it is kind of a bit too expensive for our team, I feel like, just because it's going to take up a lot of cap space, and we're going to start losing depth if we have to re-sign him. Now, we are looking at our defensive stats from the first round. You can see Zach Kurd was our best defenseman. Him and Tulipov were able to pick up 4 points apiece. Tuzolino was up here with 3 points. Like, he was not bad in that first round, but this guy thinks he's worth $18 million, and this is what he's done with our team in the playoffs. No goals in 34 games. 20 assists is fantastic, but it's not really like that insane of a playoffs that he deserves $18 million. Regular season, he just had his career best year at 77 points. He is a great offensive defenseman, don't get me wrong, but if he takes up a lot of our cap space, we won't be able to resign guys like Narena. We won't be able to sign somebody like Del Monte if we want to. Like, we definitely lose a lot of depth if we do resign him. So there's probably a higher chance that he goes to free agency than anticipated. And I don't know if there's going to be any team that's actually going to be able to afford him getting 18 million bucks, because $18 million would probably make him one of the highest paid players in the league at this point in time, I guess. Like, if I do go to... Is there a player search option still available in the playoffs? I think so, right? I think so. Let me just double check through here. Player search. There you go. Let's see who the highest paid players are in the league out of curiosity. Like, yeah, let's just put this at a minimum of 10 million bucks. Jeez, that moves a lot faster than I expected it to. Minimum of $10 million. Let's see who the highest paid player in the league is at the moment. The highest paid player in the league at the moment is... Holy, what the hell? Oh, wait, that's one of our cap whales, right? In the or was one of our cap whales. He's a free agent. That's Trevor Noonan. I was confused for a second why $20 million. But the highest paid player right now in the entire league is Mike Robertson of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's making $19 million. Let me actually move my face so you guys can see it a little bit better. $19.24 million. You have Matthew Nyes on $18.060. So Toronto's paying some big guys big money. New Hook's on $17 million. Like, technically, yeah, if Tuzolino was to get his contract he wished, he would be the highest paid defenseman in the league with no Norris trophies, basically, which is kind of impressive. So he's trying to get a ton of money. I don't blame him for trying to get money, but like $18 million is a lot of money. And the highest paid goaltender right now is Mankari, and he's making $13 million. Our former goalie Spezza is up there at $11 million as well. All right. So there is a lot of guys making some big money, but $18 million is just too much, I feel like, for Tuzolino. Like, he could end up winning a bunch of Norris trophies after the season, but I don't know if we'll bring him back. And like I said, I don't know if there's going to be teams that could afford him, even for that matter. So anyways, let's get into this first game in the series, not focus on Tuzolino's contract. Let's see if we could keep the momentum rolling. Dallas won their first series in 5 games, so both of us are coming into the series on a pretty good note. Let's see if we could go 5-0 to start this playoff run. Come on, boys. Use that home ice to our advantage. First period, game number 1. Scoreless, I'll take it. I mean, we've had some good defensive results. We don't necessarily need to be scoring 7-8 goals every game. As long as we're scoring like maybe 3 goals and we're not giving up anything, I'll be happy with those type of performances as well. Shots are 14-10 in favor of the Stars. It is scoreless after 1. Can we open the deadlock here in the second period? Second period? 1-1, I'll take it. We do open the scoring, and it's one of the only 2 guys on our team without a point. So almost everybody on this entire roster has a point now because Dag has opened the scoring. Literally like 20 seconds later, though, Jason Robertson ties the game up. So we didn't have to lead for too long, which is not great. Shots are 26-23 in favor of Dallas, but it is a 1-1 game. Now, the interesting thing is it says Callie Klang is in net for them, so I don't know if Kosa left mid-game with an injury or what, but if Sebastian Kosa got injured, that would be quite the interesting scenario for our team. But it is a pretty even game so far. Let's see what happens in this third period, see if we could get that lead back and hopefully hold on to it this time and not give it up like literally 20 seconds later. Let's see what happens, period 3. Come on, boys. We are the aliens. Let's abduct the stars. Power play for us. And we do not score on it. And they get a goal. Jack Quinn scores on Giunta. Do we have a response to that? Power play for us. We do not score again. Yeah, maybe we need to readjust our power play lines a bit because they have been struggling. Rick Kim has tied the game up late in it. Let's go, Rick. Power play late for us, and we don't score on that one. But a huge late goal from Rick Kim. It looked like we were going to lose that game, but we are going to be going to overtime in Game 1. We've only been to overtime one game so far in this playoff run. That was in Game 3 against the Wild. Shots are 37-32 in favor of us, so we have the shot advantage. Who wants to be the hero on this team? Let's call on Drew Bell since he hasn't scored yet. He's the only one without a point on this team in this playoff mix, unless he has an assist tonight. I'm going to call on him because I honestly don't know who else I want to call upon. Or maybe Tuzolino will score his first ever career playoff goal because he hasn't done that yet, which is kind of a surprise in my opinion. Let's see what happens in overtime, see if we could get that game winner. Come on, boys. I believe in you. Penalty kill. You got this, penalty killers. Nicely done. Nicely done. Can we find the game-winning goal? Power play for us. We do not score on it again. And then Dallas wins right afterwards. And man, if our power play was better, we would have won that game. Thomas Harley ends up winning it, or Harley Thomas as he was called when he was drafted. 43 shots to 40, but we lose 3-2. So that's an okay defensive effort. Good goaltending effort again. But unfortunately, this time around, we do not find that offense to win that game. So Dag from Tuzolino, we had Kim from Peterson and Tulipov, and that was it for our team. But not a terrible first game, but there is definitely some question marks with the power play. We might need to readjust the power play a little bit. Tulipov and Arena were both -2, so that pairing didn't work that well. Giunta was good again, so Giunta's still showing me that he's a good playoff goaltender right now. But unfortunately, Callie Klang gets them the victory. Did Kosa even start this game? He did. He literally played 2 minutes and made a save. So maybe Kosa did get injured. But Callie Klang seems like he might be a cheese goaltender, which is not good. So we'll definitely take a look and see if Kosa actually did get injured here. But I am going to go to the power play lines and I think readjust it a bit because the power play needs to be better. We could have won the game if we would have been able to convert on even a couple of those power plays. So let's see. 5-on-5 are fine. Power play, let's see what we got here. This first unit is... We could always take off Narain off this first unit and put somebody else on the forward side of things here. So let's put Stelvitz at the point. Let's go with Del Monte on this spot. And then Narena will run this unit instead. We'll move Rick Kim up to forward, basically. Yeah, let's try that out. I don't know if that's going to be a great move, but that's a small little move at least to maybe get something going for the power play. Because I don't really want to take any of these guys off the power plays, so might as well just go with something like that. Everything else has been fine, though. It's just that power play needs to start scoring some goals. I could always put a depth forward in, but I don't think it's the right move at this time to do that. Then we do have guys in the AHL that could come up here soon, like Delisle and all that, but I'm not going to do that. Even though Delisle would make us a better team right now, technically it just doesn't make sense because, yeah, Dag's still playing and all that. So we're going to keep the rest of it the same. It wasn't a bad first game, like I said. If we could get that power play going, we'll be much better. Our power play is literally clicking at 5.9%, so that's definitely the biggest issue right now with this team. The penalty kill is fine, and then obviously the offense and goaltending is good too, because we're number one in both those areas, but we need a much better power play. 5.9% is absolutely terrible, and Dallas is 20% on their power plays, so we can't be giving them too much power play opportunities because of how good their power play actually is. So it looks like Kosa isn't injured because of the starting goalie matchup, so I guess he literally had a minor injury early into the last game and then wasn't able to play, so maybe now that he is actually starting, we'll be able to find ways to win, because maybe Callie Klang is the type of goalie that could actually shut us down. Maybe Kosa is not as good against us, so let's see if we can get a good response after those power play adjustments. Hopefully our power play can start scoring some goals, because that definitely is the only concern I have right now up to this point in time. Let's get to game 2. We're still on home ice. If we could win this game, then obviously we just need to win a game in Dallas to get this back to even, so to speak. First period, game number 2. 2-1 Stars. Not ideal. They open the scoring. Eskalainen and Zanata. Zanata scores on the power play, so our penalty kill allows a goal. Ristolainen gets on the board. Good to see him scoring again because he had a fantastic first round with like 6 goals. So hopefully he could score some more goals for us to help us out with the offensive load. Shots are 10-10. It's a 2-1 game. Can we find a way to tie this game up in the second period or take that lead? We did have a good second period in the first round in game 1. Maybe we could do it here in game 2 of the second round. Second period? 2-2. Okay, we do tie it up. It's Rick Kim with his second goal of the series. So Rick Kim off to a good start here against the Stars. Shots are 22-17 now in favor of us. It's a 2-2 game after 2. A lot of 2s. Can we find a way to get that lead? Let's see what happens in period 3. Power play for us, we get a power play goal. It's Doig. So maybe those power play adjustments help. That's our first power play goal in quite a while, I guess, at this point. Penalty kill. Nicely done, penalty killers. Can we get some insurance? Can we get some insurance or just defend the rest of the way, basically? Final few minutes. Cashman makes it 4-2. He cashes in with a big goal. And not over yet. Robertson pulls them within 1, but we do hold them off enough. We win 4-3 despite being outshot 33-27, and we are tied going back to Dallas. Not too bad. Back-to-back games that were only decided by a goal. Like I said, I think this series definitely is going to be a lot closer than the first round was, so makes a lot of sense. So we had Ristolainen from Norena and Kolarz. We had Kim from Lee and Del Monte, Doig from Kim and Norena, and the insurance marker that became the game winner, Cashman from Bell and Capaduca. So Bell picks up a point, which means now everybody on this entire roster has a point in this playoff mix, which right now, which is great. So Rick Kim, the first star, Cashman, second star, Ristolainen, the third star. Not too bad. Gionta was pretty solid in that game too, right? Yeah, 909, it's not terrible. It's not great, but it is enough to get us a win, which is good. So just like that, we have a tie series. And the goal scoring so far after 2 games is dead even. So this could literally go either way. Both these teams have been very good so far at this point. That's, like I said, it's going to be an intergalactic matchup. And there's a lot more stars in the universe than there is aliens probably. But you never know. Maybe the aliens are just going to find a way to take all the stars and send them to like a random void or some shit. I don't know what the heck aliens will do. But anyways, let's get the game 3. Keep the team the same after a win like that. Like I said, our power play was able to score. And obviously we were able to just barely beat them out. So let's win a game in Dallas to get back at them for winning game 1. And then hopefully we could take more than one if we take one of them. So let's see what happens on the road. We've been a good road team so far. Let's keep the momentum rolling on the road. First period, game number 3. 2-2. Okay, we might have a bit more of an offensive game here. Bell opens the scoring, so now Bell's getting on the board with goals and stuff as well. So literally everybody on this team is doing as much as they can for this team, which is great to see that depth show up. Robertson ties the game up. Rick Kim scores his 3rd goal in as many games, so Rick Kim has been pretty damn consistent here against the Stars, and Wyatt Johnson ties the game up. Shots are 13-10 in favor of them, so far, Kosa has been not that good. Gionta hasn't been that good either, but he's been better than Kosa up to this point in time. Can we find a way to get that lead back in the second period? We've had the lead multiple times in this game so far, but Dallas has came back in each of them so far. Let's see what happens in period 2. 4-3 us. Okay, so the offense continues. We did score 2 goals to take a 4-2 lead, but they got back in the game again. Rick Kim scores again. So I guess Rick Kim has Dallas's number on speed dial, or so to speak. He's got 4 goals in 3 games. Staubitz gets a power play goal, so our power play is starting to click a little bit more, which is nice to see. And Eskalainen gives Dallas a chance to get back into this game. Shots are 24-18 in favor of the Stars. We're up by a goal. Can we get some insurance and lock this one down? Let's not let them come back again. They've came back so many times in this game already. Let's lock it down in the 3rd period here. Come on, boys. Let's get that insurance marker. Oh, I knew they were going to tie it up just because we've given them back into this game every single time. Nelson ties it up on Gionta. Can we get our lead back again? Penalty kill. Come on, kill it off, boys. I believe in you. Nicely done, penalty killers. That's a huge, huge penalty kill at this point in time. Final few minutes here of the 3rd period. Still tied at 4. We're going to overtime again. So it's going to be the 3rd straight game that's determined by 1 goal. So this is definitely a very good matchup so far at this point. Like I said, we got to go to eventually a Game 7 probably if we want to win a Stanley Cup. So this could be the series that definitely do so. So shots are 35-30 in favor of them, so they have the shot advantage, but Gionta has been trying his best to give our team a chance to win the game. We just need to find one goal, and we'll take a game in Dallas, which is what we want to get. So can we find a way to get that OT game-winning goal? Who hasn't scored in a while that should? Trying to think. We had Stelbitz score in this game. That was actually his first goal of the playoffs, I think, if I'm not mistaken, because he had no goals in the first round. Trying to think of who has been quiet in terms of goal scoring. Maybe Kolars. I honestly don't remember who hasn't scored goals because everybody on this team has been picking up like points, but I can't remember who hasn't scored a goal yet at this point in time. So hopefully somebody shows up for us. Let's see what happens in overtime. Come on, boys. Let's get this game-winning goal. Let's get it done. Power play for us. Come on, power play. 5-on-3. And we do win in overtime. A huge win on the road in Dallas. It's Rick Kim to complete the hat trick. Rick Kim has been on a different planet in this series, and that's why we gave him a big contract last offseason. It was kind of like a nice little trial contract, and he's showing that he's a playoff performer. 5-4 victory. We got outshot 39-35, but we win by 1 goal again. So this series has definitely been inch for inch. But our power play has improved a lot since we made a couple small adjustments. So that's really great to see too. Because that's definitely changed the complexion of some of these games. So Bell from Degg and Lambert. We had Kim from Del Monte and Tuzolino. Stelbitz from Ristolainen and Kolars. And Kim from Peterson and Doig. So yeah, Kim with the hat trick. That's a huge performance from him. 3 goals on 7 shots on goal. We also had Del Monte on a couple of assists and a lot of guys on 1 point. There was some people that were -3 in that game, but I think it's because our goals were on the power play. So that's why their plus minuses weren't that good. So hopefully those guys improve a little bit. But yeah, that was Gionta's worst playoff game, I'd say, up to this point. But at least we were able to get the victory. He held us in the game. He made 35 saves. I wouldn't say it's a terrible game, but obviously not as good as it was when he was in the first round. So 3 stars of that victory. Rick Kim the first star, and then Johnson and Robertson get stars for them. So we were kind of lucky to win that game, but that's what you need in the playoffs. You need sometimes a little bit of luck to win games. And now we have our first lead of the series, which is great to see after that OT loss in Game 1. So technically at this point we could be up 3-0, but obviously Game 1 we lost, unfortunately. Alright, so everything's been working well. Obviously, we've been just inching out these games. Like, we aren't blowing them out of the water like we did against Minnesota. But like I said, I didn't expect it to be like that similar. I think it's going to be definitely a much more closer series. Still could go to Game 7, obviously. But if we can find a way to win here, we have 3 chances at least to knock out the Dallas Stars. So can we keep the momentum rolling? We're going to keep the team the exact same because Rick Kim and the guys have been doing good. The power play has been improving. Like, if we look, actually, let's go back for a second here first. Let's see how good our power play is now. Our power play is now not 20%. That's Dallas. Our power play is up to 16.7%, which is 7th best in the NHL playoffs. So it was, what was it before? It was only like at 5 point something percent before. We've scored like 3 or 4 power play goals since we've made those adjustments. So I think we definitely made the right call by moving Norena to his own unit, that type of thing. And yeah, let's just keep the momentum rolling here. So game number 4. In Dallas. If we could find a way to win this, we have a chance to close out the series back on home ice. If we lose this game, it's back to square one again, so to speak. First period, game number 4. 1-0 Stars. Not terrible, but it does suck to be losing after 1 because normally we score goals in the first period. Jack Quinn opens the score with 7:11 left in the period, of course. Shots 9-8 in favor of them. So not a lot of shots between both these teams in the first period compared to other games. Can we find a way to tie this game up in the second period and not allow them to get away in this game if possible? Second period. There we go. We tied it up. Okay. Ristolainen scores again. So, yeah, Ristolainen's had an okay series too. Hasn't been as hot as he was in the first round, but he did have a hat trick in the first round. Actually had 4 goals in a game in one of the games in the first round. So, Risto is known to how to score in the playoffs. Shots are even. Goals are even. Like I said, a single game in the series could go either way at this point in time. So, can we find a way to get that lead in the third period, if possible, and maybe take a 3-1 series lead? Let's see what happens. Come on, boys. Let's get that next goal. Let's get it. Doesn't have to be on the power play. 5-on-5. Bell scores. Let's go. Bell's been great in the series too. He's got 2 goals and like an assist. So our offense is just doing everything. We're getting goals from every single player on this roster, and that's exactly what the doctor wants to see. Final few minutes, and we're gonna lock it down. Another 1-goal victory. Hey, I'll take it. I don't need to necessarily win by 5. I'll take these 1-goal victories. We got outshot 29-24, so a great response from Giunta in net after his worst game yet of the postseason. But like that, we are up 3-1 now in the series and 1 win away from the conference finals. So Ristolainen from Tuzolino and Bell from Ristolainen and Kolar. So Ristolainen and Bell with multiple points in that victory. I'm really surprised Bell's able to pick up multiple points, though, because he's a full-on defensive defenseman, so it's great to see him helping out a little bit. Giunta, the first star of the game, Bell's second star, Ristolainen, the third star. Also, Saturn Taku, it was mentioned about Zach Hurd. Well, I don't think Hurd's done anything in this series so far up to this point, but Bell has been showing up, which is good to see. So, who knows, maybe we'll have a different player show up every single round, basically. And maybe a different defender that's not Tuzolino. Because Tuzolino is, I think, even getting outscored by Bell in this series, which is kind of surprising. Because this series has been so close. Alright, we're 1 win away from the conference finals. We have only lost 1 game up to this point in time, which was that overtime loss in game 1. Can we find ourselves in the conference finals again? It might be against the LA Kings because they're up 3-1 on Utah right now. But Utah could come storming back. In the East, there is 2 3-1 series as well. Florida and New York look like the likely candidates to go to the 3rd round. But let's see if we could close out Dallas. See if we could shoot those stars out of the sky and get ourselves to round 3. Come on, boys. Let's do this. Let's keep playing our game. First period, game number 5. 1-0 us. Good start. Kolars. Early on, too. Afterwards, nobody was able to score. But shots are 12-7 in favor of the Stars. So the Stars are outplaying us in some of these games. But it's our good goaltending and good defensive play that's helped us out a lot. And also just barely getting enough offense to beat them in these games. Like, definitely a lot closer of a series than it looks. Like, we could be taking them out in 5 games. But definitely they could be sweeping us in the series as well. Just because it's been 1-goal games. But it has been a good series, and I'm glad that we kind of had a series like this too, because obviously if we just keep on dominating, eventually we're going to get dominated. If we have these close series, it shows our team can actually play in these kind of tight scenarios. Anyways, can we find a way to get some insurance in the second period so we have a safer time in the second period? Still 1-0. Okay, so this is going to be maybe another 1-goal finish. Shots are 24-17 in favor of the Stars. We're up still by 1 goal. Can we find a way to deadlock, or not deadlock this series, what I'm trying to say, lock down this game and get ourselves to that next round? Giunta's been great so far in this one. Just need him to play good for another 20 minutes and maybe get some insurance if possible. Let's see if we could get here and get to round 3 for the first time in, I think it's been 2 seasons at least, maybe 3 seasons. Come on, boys. Penalty kill to start the third. We kill it off. Penalty kill again. Stop taking penalties. A goal from Doig that's apparently not short-handed, but they score a power play goal right afterwards to break the shutout. It's now 2-1. Power play for us. We do not score on it. Did take some time off the clock, though, which is good. Penalty kill. Take it off, boys. Nicely done. Final few minutes. Still up by 1 goal. And we are going to lock it down. We win by 1 goal for the 4th time in the series. And it's another fantastic game from Giunta. He only allows 1 goal on 39 shots. And just like that, we're going to the conference finals despite losing game 1. Every single game was determined by 1 goal. So that was a close series, but we got it done. Kolars from Narena, and in Doig's the game-winning goal from Cashman and Hurd. So Hurd picks up an assist after we mentioned he had nothing in this series so far. That's a nice assist there. And Giunta, the first star of the game with a 974. Doig, the second star. And Kosa gave his team a chance, but he gets 3rd star of the game. Yeah, that was an interesting series. Definitely a lot tighter as I expected it to be, though, because we lost this game by 1, win by 1, win by 1, win by 1 these last 2. It's been a crazy ride so far up to this point in time, and it will be the LA Kings that we are going to be playing in the conference finals. So it'll be Kings versus Aliens. You think the Aliens should be able to beat up like a bunch of Kings, but you never know what those Kings have in stock. Maybe they have a bunch of catapults to shoot down or UFOs. Honestly, don't know. But 8-1 so far. Let's take a look at our player stats after 2 rounds. Then we will obviously take a look at what LA is looking like and all that stuff. But very, very impressed with this team's performance up to this point. So yeah, will be the LA Kings. They had a 41-37-4 record during the regular season. So they might be a cheese team. And then in the East, you have, who is it? Yeah, Florida and New York. So could be a rematch of 2014. Could also be a Florida-LA Cup Finals, or it could be Florida and us, or New York and us. Imagine the aliens taking over New York. Then they would have the entire United States by the balls, basically, so to speak. Like, oh, man. Okay, anyways, let's take a look at our player stats after 2 rounds. See what we got. And then, obviously, we'll do a little comparison and take a look at LA's lineup. So, in terms of our centers, Risto still over point per game, 12 points in 9 games, 8 goals. He's been fantastic. Kim on 10 points, 5 goals, 5 assists. Obviously, he had a hat-trick in that round, so he was a big factor in us beating the Dallas Stars. Peterson on 5 points, Cashman on 4 points, Heatley only on 2 goals still, but everybody's still plus. Left wing side of things, Del Monte on 9 points in 9 games, plus 4. Kolar's on 7 points, plus 5. Just in general, the plus-minus on this team is great. Lambert hasn't scored so far. Hopefully he scores soon. Dag on 2 points. He picked both those up in that round. Capaduca still has no goals so far, which is kind of surprising because he is usually a good goal scorer. Yeah, usually gets scored like 20 goals a season, so hopefully he gets start scoring some goals. Right wing side of things, Staubitz literally has been a weird player. Fantastic regular season, but in this playoffs, he only has 1 goal through 9 games, but he has 6 points, so he's not the best offensive player on our team, but he is still cashing in with some points, I guess, but still, he's not been as good as the regular season for sure. He's only shooting 3.4%. Meanwhile, in the regular season, he shot 21.3%. So he needs to get going a bit if we want to win more games. And Enjoy on 4 goals and 5 points. Defensively, Tuzolino on 6 assists and a plus 7. Hurd on 5 points, plus 5. Tulipov, 5 points, plus 3. And then, yeah, you can see Bell had 4 points in that round. He had no points in the first round, but everybody on this team's been contributing. And then the goaltending, Gionta dropped off a tiny bit, but he still has a .938 save percentage. So everything has been really good with this team so far up to this point, which does have me scared that LA might be a cheese team that could take out our winning streak quite a bit. But hopefully that's not the case. There's only been how many people that haven't scored on this team so far? Only a total of 5 people that have not scored a goal so far. 2 of them are offensive defensemen, Noreen and Tuzolino. Capaduca hasn't scored. Lee and Lambert haven't scored. So it's been a team effort. Really liking the way we're simulating up to this point in time. Actually, I should take a look at the team stats now. So now let's do a comparison to us in the LA Kings during the actually regular season first. Then we'll take a look at playoffs. Then we'll take a look at what their roster's looking like, because they were probably one of the worst teams in the West to actually make the postseason, which does has me scared a little bit here. Yeah, they were all the way at 10th, so they finished worse than Chicago and Colorado, but made it because the Pacific Division wasn't super strong. But 257 goals for 3.13 goals per game, 4 per game. I don't think I could take a look at my stats. Oh, I can barely just take a look at my stats here compared to theirs. So we scored way more goals, 4 per game. They actually allowed more than they scored. That's kind of scary. Yeah, they weren't much worse defensively than us. They actually only allowed 1 more goal than us this season. So they actually are a pretty good defensive team based on that. They just don't score a lot. Their power play was not very good during the season. Their penalty kill is actually pretty good. So they're a good defensive team based on regular season stuff, which is not good. In terms of playoffs, though, how different is it? It's kind of surprising that they've been able to make it this far after where they finished. So they're 8-4, we're 8-1. We're scoring more goals per game than them still, which is good to see. We've been better defensively than them, but they do still have that defensive identity from the regular season, only allowing 2.25 goals against per game. Power play 9.4%. Theirs is 12.5. So both special teams not working that well. Our penalty kill has been much better than theirs, though. So they've been a good defensive team 5-on-5, but 6 of the 27 goals that they've allowed in the playoffs have been on the power play. So maybe our power play can get going because of that. All right. That's interesting. So now the question is, what does this LA Kings team look like at this point in time? Because we've never played them before in the playoffs. They might be honestly a cheese team, a good defensive team that just barely made it into the playoffs, and now they could win a Stanley Cup because of that defensive play, which I don't like. Let's see what we got. First line, Josiah Holtby. I don't think I ever recognized this guy. Former second overall pick 10 years ago. I don't think I know who he is at all. He's a sniper, but he only has 3 goals in the playoffs, which is kind of weird. There's also Thomas Ustorf. I feel like I remember this dude, though. Drafted 9 years ago. I feel like I remember when he went first overall. And then I also have, what's his name? Gaspard Mercier. Former 6th overall pick. Huh. So they have a pretty young lineup, it seems like, based on just that top line. So they've been rebuilding, I guess, for a while at this point. Second line has Jace Hernandez, who's only 22. Ola Svedberg, who's 24. And Ryan Ruberk, who's 29, but would have been drafted in, like early on into this franchise mode, as I expected. Third line, Jacob Prince. Quinton Byfield's still there at 34, so he must be their captain at this point, I would assume. They also have Ryan McLeod. And a fourth line of Ola Clefbaum. What's your name? Trent Knubel and Joshua Manderville. All right. So that forward group is pretty balanced and well built. Like, they have good depth down the middle, good depth on the wings. Like, they don't have, I'd say, a super stud player that's 90 plus, obviously. But Ustorf, Holtby, like, those guys are pretty damn good. So they definitely built up a good forward group, even though they weren't good offensively during the regular season. From a defensive standpoint, this is apparently a really good defensive team, remember. And I don't see a super stud defenseman on this team, so that kind of scares me too. They have Yuri Dadonov, so hopefully he doesn't become what Evgeny Dadonov did to 2BC in the day. They also have Mohamed Chiodu. They also have on the second pairing Bo Aki, and I don't know your name, Lincoln Antonio. That just sounds like an American that was named after Abraham Lincoln. That's from like San Antonio or some shit. And they also have Jeremy Poirier and Adam Yurchek. Yeah, Adam Yurchek. I wonder if they have any injuries, because this defensive core is similarly that good. You either have to have a stud goaltender or somebody's out. Okay, so Strudwick's just returning from injury. Their starting goaltender, Jackson Strudwick. Former 5th rounder 6 years ago. I don't think I even know this dude at all. 910 save percentage during the regular season. So far in the playoffs has a 936. He's got 6 of their wins, so he wasn't in net for every single win of their playoffs, apparently, because of those injuries. So then that means also Brody Homer, who is their backup, has been pretty good as well. He's got a 941 save percentage through 3 games. So their goaltending definitely is good. Their defense looks kind of weird, but it is a good defensive core apparently. And their offensive core looks better than anticipated. Scratch, they have Neil McNeil. Oh my goodness. The meme, Neil McNeil. I gotta get rid of my face for a second just in case I want to take a screenshot of that for Twitter or some shit. Neil McNeil, former low elite. Oh my goodness. That's such a funny meme pick. God damn, man. I love it when there's meme picks like that. Neil McNeil. I don't even remember seeing this guy in last year's draft. Or maybe I did see him in last year's draft. I don't remember. They also have, what's your name? Brandon Trevelyan. And Noah Dobson is still there at 37 years old. Shout out to Noah Dobson from our Islanders series, but damn. Alright, so that's kind of an interesting team. And I think we might have the upper hand, but at this point in time, they were a cheese team, I think, during the regular season that gets into the playoffs just barely. And now they made it to a conference final, so they definitely could beat us. They definitely could. I hope that obviously we have more in the tank from these last 2 rounds. We should have more in our tank because we've been well rested for the most part. But we had 10 more wins than during the regular season than them, so I think if we take what we did during the regular season, we do what we been doing in the playoffs, I think we should be the better team, but based on this game, LA could honestly cheese us, and that's a little bit scary. So hopefully we can find a way to get 4 more wins, get ourselves to that Cup Finals, and have a chance to win our first ever Stanley Cup. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode. So next episode, take it to round 3 against the LA Kings as we look to get 4 more wins and get to our first ever Stanley Cup Finals against either New York or Florida. And if we do that, hopefully we have a chance to win that Stanley Cup. Because if we win at least 1 cup in this series before it ends, I'll be happy. But obviously, we have still a lot more time left to maybe win multiple if we do win the season. So saying down below, and I'll see you guys next time.